Good evening, friends, and a warm welcome to all of you. It's wonderful to see. I was for a minute. I was just soaking in this view because some of our most eminent members here, charter members, spouses, families, you're all here in full strength today. So it's really wonderful on a weekday, and with the kind of traffic block which most of us have encountered. We always make it a point time meetings that we start on time. We had announced that we will start at sharp 6:30. So apologies for the 12-minute delay. We had to wait for some of our friends who are on the way, and some of them are still on their way. But nevertheless, I think we have a good quorum to get started. So it's a wonderful occasion. It's been a couple of months since we've had a family meet where we all come together, meet and greet, spend time together, and some of our friends from far and wide and from all parts of the globe have found the time to be here with us today, and that is what makes TIE special. This is a family unit for all of us, and it's always great that we come together, meet, and spend time together. And today we are absolutely blessed by the presence of Dr. Debashis Chatterjee. As all of us know, he is the name when it comes to the academia and the education sector from a Kerala perspective. We have completely taken over Dr. Chatterjee and made him a Malayali for all practical purposes. We take great pride in all that he has achieved. Those of us who've known him for many, many years, we've seen how he has shaped up, IIMK from literally a startup to where it is today. It's now in the top 3 in the India rankings and continuing to surge. It would be no surprise to us a few more years if he continues to sit in the chair. You never know. We could hopefully have a number 1 institution coming from Kerala. And on several fronts, we are already number 1. I'm sure he'll probably speak to us. The last time we met during the Ravi DC's fest, he was telling me about many verticals which has been spearheading one step ahead of all the other B schools in the country, and probably some of the initiatives very innovative where we are even ahead of some of the best in the world. Now we are also happy to have with us our friends from Calicut. A very important event is coming up called the KTX, which is a 3-day, let me say, a celebration of entrepreneurship and technology and so many things combined. The strength of Calicut was on full display during the earlier edition. Now the second edition is coming up. Many of us have had the opportunity to work closely with the organizers of KTX in the earlier edition. This year they've scaled it up. It will be bigger and better in every sense. And they will speak about what the event is, invite all of us. TIE Kerala is a very important partner to this event, and it would be great if many of us can be there physically as well as through whatever else support that the team may request from all of us. And we are also very happy that the Calicut movement which we have started, zonal concepts which we started in TIE, we've started in both in Calicut and in Trivandrum. Trivandrum, we are still making baby steps, but the Calicut arm of our TIE Kerala is going places now, and Anandamani requests applause for all the good work. So he is heading the Calicut, and regularly there are programs inviting people, all the next gen, young gen startups. So the way we have been building the ecosystem in Kochi with the same energy and enthusiasm, today we have programs happening regularly in Calicut, TYE programs happening in very many schools all across with great thrust on the Malabar area as well. And Trivandrum is the next stop. We have some plans. Jijimon has not come in yet, but we are working closely in Jijimon, and Roy Verghese and Alex, all of us are having some plans there, which will be rolled out over the next couple of months. At TIE Kerala, we've been very active. We had made a roster of events, big and small, which runs into hundreds of events which have happened over the last 1 year. That's the pace at which activities are happening, many of which are at the school level, at the college level, with association with KSUM and many other events and activities which don't even find a place in our WhatsApp group where we generally discuss our events. So I think we must also appreciate the good work which is being done by our secretary. It's only when we get a platform like this that we can acknowledge. So Divya and team, great job. Virtually every day, almost every day there is something happening in some part of the state, and that's not easy for a small secretariat team as ours. So since we've already lost some time, the time which both Anandamani, who will be introducing Dr. Debashis, and we have cut 4 or 5 minutes from what we were intending to. We wanted to hand over the mic to him by 6:50 or so. I think in another 5 minutes time we should be able to hand over so that we don't lose time as far as our agenda is concerned. So with these words, let me invite Anandamani to come forward and introduce Dr. Debashis, and also a couple of minutes speak about some of the initiatives in Calicut, and maybe a brief introduction on KTX. The further details we will, team, Mr. Rajan and Mr. Nityanand Kamath, the leaders are here, and the whole team is there from Calicut. Will, formally will invite you after Dr. Debashis finishes his talk. So over to you, Mani.
Good evening. President Vivek, Chief Guest Professor Debashis, Chatterjee, Nityanand, President of Malabar Chamber, Ajay, Chairman of CITI, important charter members, and all others who have gathered out over here. Extremely delighted, and it's gratifying to stand before you all this fine evening. As we celebrate this occasion with the presence of Professor Debashis, and as advised by the President, let me also spread a few words about KTX that is going to happen in Calicut, which is the second edition. So just a brief, KTX is an industry technology convergence summit to connect, innovate, and scale to enable meaningful discussions and collaborations across various sectors and various geographies. Last year's KTX served as a very powerful platform for sharing knowledge, bringing together capabilities with the engagement of industries of various fronts, and was marked as a significant milestone of Calicut of high dimension and at a very measurable impact. So would be more than happy to see all of you and many of you, like people like you who are shaping the next phase of India's technology and entrepreneurship story, inviting you all to KTX. And even more impressive is the range of the speakers who would be addressing KTX. Mr. Nityanand and Mr. Ajay would talk more about KTX. And I'm personally requesting for the engagement of each one of you towards KTX and to tag all your friends about KTX. So now, with pure joy and pride, let me move on to my official responsibility to introduce the speaker of this evening, Professor Debashis Chatterjee. So first things first, on behalf of TiE Kerala sir, I convey our deep gratitude to you for this most generous gesture, for accepting our invitation and traveling all the way from Calicut to be here so as to address us. And we are humbled and honored by your presence this evening. Sincere thanks to you from each one of us. Professor Debashis Chatterjee has taught leadership classes at Harvard University and at the Indian Institutes of Management, IIMs of Calcutta, Lucknow, and Kozhikode for nearly 3 decades. The longest serving director of a first generation IIM, he was reappointed to head IIM Kozhikode for a third 5-year term in June 2023. A postdoctoral Fulbright scholar at Harvard University, he was trained as a leadership coach in Harvard Business School, INSEAD France, and IMD in Switzerland. And moreover, he has made significant contributions in writing too. Author of 18 impactful non-fiction and fiction books, including The 1 Minute Wisdom, Leadership Chronicles, Invisible Arjuna, Krishna, The Seventh Sense, and Karma Sutras. His ideas have been featured at the Wall Street Journal, Economic Times, CNN, and other media. His published books have been translated into several international and Indian languages. With 2 decades of experience as CEO and institutional head, what stands out most is that he has trained over 1 lakh Fortune 500 managers and 50,000 educators worldwide. Widely regarded is he as an influential figure, and in recognition, he was recently named among the 2025 Chartered Association of Business Schools Fellows, becoming the first Indian academic to receive this prestigious honor. Professor Chatterjee is also credited with transforming IIM Kozhikode into an institution of global recognition. And personally, I'm excited to reveal that IIMK is now counted among the top 3 IIMs in India and the top 65 management schools worldwide according to Financial Times ratings. And to that, I would add that he's a remarkable human being and an exceptional teacher. With that much being said, I take a pause, and now, with lots of pleasure, sir, I request you to address this august audience on the topic that matters to all of us, leadership in the age of AI. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andamani, and please, Professor Chatterjee, we invite you. Before we listen to him, we would also request him to kindly light a lamp and inaugurate this collaboration which we are starting, which we are hoping will move forward in the years ahead with the city. So may I invite Mr. Nityananda Kamath, Mr. Ajayan, kindly come forward. We are also today fortunate to have with us the InfoPark CEO, Sushant. Please kindly join us on stage. Let's all jointly inaugurate this venture. Anandamani, you are here. And our mentor, VK, is also here. So can we also have you with us, VK?
I know you've come here at a great cost to your time, and you're very intelligent people. I don't think I need to talk down to you from here. I wish I could go around. I don't want to start this conversation with a talk. I want to start with 3 questions. What is uppermost in your mind when you think of AI and leadership and all that? Because from those questions, we are going to build an understanding together, not because I know better than you do. If you say something like, I understand AI and what's going to do in the next 10 years, either he's a charlatan or trying to make tons of money, or he just doesn't know what it is all about. Because AI of yesterday is not going to be the same of AI of today. That's the rate at which the whole thing is shaking things around. But I don't want to go there until I get those questions. So what will be those questions? You have to get engaged. Otherwise, the evening will be a very boring affair. So who's going to ask the first question? Yes, ma'am. Please identify yourself so that I know who you are.
My name is Archana.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think I keep worrying about relevancy and value that leaders will bring in the time we have.
Relevance and value that leaders will bring in the...
So,
Okay.
is our relevancy and value going to be diminished? And how do we ensure that we have ample relevancy and value in an age which is going to be ruled by AI? And with all of the inputs that come via AI, how do leaders then define their relevancy and value?
Wonderful. Relevance and values. A second question. Who's going to answer this? Because we are going to build with these questions. These are concerns that you have. Yes, sir.
My question to Professor is this: in the age of AI,
Right.
are we on the verge of losing our own creativity? Because everything is given on a platter within few minutes, with AI itself taking different shapes.
Right.
So that will be I can say, a concern area.
Right.
Whether we are going to lose our creativity.
Wonderful question. So this is about creativity. Are we going to lose it?
So my question is, what is it that the leaders of enterprises should do as risk-free actions with so much of churn and hype happening around AI? What are the actions that they can take, for the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? What are the risk-free actions? There's so much of spend on AI. So what are the actions which leaders can take?
If I have to put this in one bucket and give one sentence to describe all the three, what would that sentence be? Suppose you have three different people asking three different questions, and I've often found in a room and a bunch of people sit together, they are coming from the same frame of reference. You know, like those pendulum clocks, of those clocks in a watch store, they try to sync with each other. And as you settle into a room, there's something happens in the room that we try to start. You go to a temple, your thoughts will start syncing after a while, of course. But these three questions are bound in one thread. What is that thread? What is that thread? Before you talk of disruption, look at what is coming from within you. One thing is that you're stuck in one place. You're stuck, mentally stuck, trying to figure out. We are all stuck, by the way. You're stuck in this. Somebody's stuck with not talking to his parents or with his brother. You're stuck in this technology piece. And you're saying, where is creativity going to go? Where will relevance and value go? And I'm very anxious, what I should do in this short term, in the mid-term, in the long term. Actions which are risk-free. I'm stuck. I don't have an answer. That is why human beings begin to have dialogues and conversations. That's why brains speak to each other. So let me share with you, how do you get unstuck is the nature of the answer. How do you get unstuck from where you're stuck? Think of this classic character who's stuck in a frame. His name is Arjun. He's stuck in the middle of war, and he just does not know what to do next. He is a very capable, competent, just like you are, warrior who's fought battles, achieved acclaim, but now one is stuck because something has hit us and we are not able to figure out how to navigate. So when Arjun is stuck, what does Arjun really do? He stops action in the first place. Arjun, who is performative, archer, and he has a conversation of 700 odd verses that passes down generations as the Bhagavad Gita. Of course, it becomes a post-mortem gift to be given. But if you analyze where Arjun is stuck, you'll see he's stuck pretty much in the same space that you and I are. Nothing has changed in thousands of years. And I'm going to tell you why. So how do you get unstuck? You have to grow. This is a call to growth. ChatGPT is an inflection point, technological inflection point, where we have to outgrow some things and grow into something that we haven't anticipated before. Certainly not on this scale, right? Growth I cannot see. I do not know, I can't see except your stomach line going bigger. After a while, you will not grow physically, right? Your growth mentally will be limited to your tastes and your preferences, your intelligence quotients and all of that stuff. Intellectually also you don't grow too much. So where is the growth coming from? The growth will come from another dimension altogether. You grow in your awareness of the limitations that you have deliberately placed upon yourself. So growth you cannot see. What you can see is the change part of the growth. Growth is the inner dimension, change is the outer dimension. So if you change, let's say your operational, stuff in the industry, if you change in the way you talk to your people, if you change in the way you recruit people, then it can be assumed that you've grown in that dimension. So like I said, growth is multilinear. When a kid grows up and wants to play around, the kid is walking from a toddler to a walker. There are so many biochemical reactions happening to enable that growth. You can't see any of that, but you can see the change. The kid is now walking instead of crawling. So behavior is only the manifestation of something that is happening internally. So don't get too caught up in behavior. A lot of people are paranoid about, AI without fundamentally knowing what it is. So let me go back to the clutter and bring some clarity if possible. All the three questions will be answered and responded to, right? The first is that you have a brain, your carbon brain, that has evolved from millions of years of evolution. This brain that you have, that you come to this hall with, this is made up of carbon. And you have decided at some point in time, what does the carbon brain really do? Carbon brain is not interested in truth or reality. It is interested in a shortcut that allows it to live, survive. It has a utilitarian value. It has no other, if you ask the brain to perceive truth, the brain is not designed to do that. It is given to you to survive by growing its understanding. And how does it grow? Through repetition. This is the fundamental thing of the brain. We can talk about creativity, but let's first start with how the brain works. Now, it requires shortcuts to be able to survive very quickly. So if it sees something like that looks remotely like a tiger in the distance, the brain will assume, even if it is a leaf moving, it will assume it is a tiger, right? And it will prepare the body to protect itself. The assumption, when it is proven wrong, the brain will say, I got it wrong. Imagine the cost of assuming it is a leaf, not a tiger, and it actually becomes a tiger. Then your existence is in question. So brain operates on anticipation and predictability of structures. It is not interested in finding what reality is. You're not in search of reality. If you are using your brain to say this is real, you're using a wrong device, right? So you can look at what happens when you repeat something. You start believing, the brain starts believing what it repeatedly says to itself. So your view of the world is a repetition of the past. Right? You've been successful and you've repeated it in your head. I often do an exercise. I don't know how many of you have done it with me, but nevertheless, let's try this. Let's name a British tree starting with O. 3-letter word. Oh, fantastic. You should. You're sharp. The cry of a frog calling out. What is that called? Croak. That's very nice. Some of you have taken GRE and all of that, so you should be smart. So oak and croak. A funny story starting with J. Funny joke, oak, croak, joke. A global beverage starting with C. Oak, croak, joke, coke. Okay. White of an egg. There you are. White of an egg is yolk. You can see how the brain has become a predictive machine, completely bypassing reality. It goes headlong into what it has experienced in the past. You know, you have a 500 buck note, rupee, you have seen it several thousand times, 500 Indian rupees. Have you or not? You've seen it 1,000 times. If I ask each one of you to draw what you actually saw on two sides, you'll not even remember. Most of you will draw erratically, put things which are not even there. Have you noticed, for instance, there is Lal Killa, the Red Fort? Have you seen there are some trees, flowers, beneath the Red Fort, several flowers. Have you seen 5 marks of 5 on two sides, left and right? Have you seen Gandhiji's specs glasses, Swachh Bharat, with every 500 buck note? Because you're not interested. The brain wants a shortcut. It says 500, I don't have to count. Look at what 500 looks like. Come on, give me the shortcut and I'm going to. So you're not going to go there until it is of utility to you. So brain is an utilitarian device. It only is given to you for your survival. It has no other function. If you are assuming that your brain is going to open up to something extraordinary overnight, it will not. For the simple reason the device is structured around utility. Survival, it starts with survival and it ends up being a predictive machine. So it only anticipates and predicts based on past data, retrospective. So this carbon brain has decided one fine morning that it will generate something that takes away from the tedium of trying to do cause and effect over and over again. So it has invented something called artificial intelligence, which is an offshoot of natural intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? It is silicon brain taking over some of the cognitive activities. Cognitive means that it involves thinking. Cognitive activities of the carbon brain. What have you outsourced? This tedious job of repeating time and again things. So all of a sudden there's this breakthrough. 100-odd people in California, Silicon Valley, are creating the codes for you repetitively, which you think is changing the world. You know, let's come down to the real basic issues of what it is fundamentally. Then we can talk about what it can do. So think of the Industrial Revolution. How has the brain changed? Since the Industrial Revolution, it redesigned our work. So that which was repetitive, we started doing this by using machines. So the load that came from repetitive physical work was taken away by those machines, which was replacing physicality with their prowess, with the faster. So we created an offshoot of our physical capability, which could do better than our physical power. And machines overtook. If you look at Charlie Chaplin's movie called, what is that called? That movie on Modern Times, absolutely. The first few scenes, the man is moving inside the machine, crushed by the machine. What AI is appearing to you today, machines appeared to human beings just like that in those days. They were overwhelmingly bigger than human capability. They appeared to be so. So cognitive revolution was not there in the air. So first was Industrial Revolution, Germany, France, England, they dominated the world because they had the machines, right? As opposed to muscle power of the rest of the world. Then came the Information Revolution. Whereas the Industrial Revolution redesigned work, Information Revolution redesigned systems. So I could operate sitting here. I could connect with you systemically in California or somewhere else without having to physically go there or even. So the point is that I have set up systems where information structure was accepted out of the physical structure. So information structure, if I want to own the largest car company in the world, I didn't have to own a single car. I had to own the system that could map how many passengers are looking for the eyes of the driver. So Ola and Uber came into being because they created a gopher which would connect to physical structures. You want to create a brand, shoe brand called Nike or Reebok, you didn't have to own a single shoe factory. You have to own the design, the information structure. So the information revolution redesigned our systems, just as Industrial Revolution redesigned our work. And then this revolution that we are talking about, on the cusp of it, is redesigning our own cognitive map, the way our brain is structured. How was it structured? If you read a poem by Goldsmith, Oliver Goldsmith, he is talking about a headmaster in a village who says he knows so much, how can his head contain so much knowledge? This was the wonder of the poet in the industrial age. He's saying, how can one head have so much knowledge? They thought knowledge was like substance or content. Until you realize that what you call cognition of the brain, an event is happening, somebody is opening the door right there, immediately this is an event out there, physical event, but there's a neural event corresponding to it. The neural event is like a blip. It does a shortcut, oh, he's a waiter, he's looking for somebody here, and so it doesn't bother me. In a very quick somersault, my brain actually does a little shortcut here and says, okay, don't worry about that, let's go ahead with the talk. So there's a neural event corresponding to a physical event. The physical event is happening there. Neural event is an approximation of the physical event. It cannot replace the physical event. But it does an approximation for me to get by, right? So the neural event, which the brain is producing, this structure of the brain is going to morph in a different direction. This is what we are worried about, and at least in academia, when I have term papers and my students are using ChatGPT, their term papers are looking more like each other. You know, this is your answer to creativity, right? Which means that the brain, which learned by trial and error, creativity comes from trial and error. It doesn't come from algorithms. So I try something, it doesn't work, so I try something else. I'm in Punjab, I tried to wash clothes in a washing machine, then I realized making lassi is much better use of that machine, right? So creativity is born out of trial and error. And you make errors, you go back and you try again. You see what I'm saying? And so that brain, which used to be a storehouse of memory, and shortcuts, which is a neural equivalent of a neural blip, is now saying that this can be done by an algorithm much faster, better than you can do it. So why worry about memorizing so many things? Why worry about knowledge at all? Knowledge is there, so why are you pursuing knowledge? Put it in your head, poor head. Why don't you use the neural structure to do something that you once could do? Like tell stories, narrate stories, imagine things which doesn't even exist. No algorithm can do that. Right? Go inside the human being and see what is there behind the brain wave. Just the neural structure is not the human being. The human being is much bigger than a neural blip. So you go inside the human constitution, figure out what you've left behind, what you've lost, what you've not yet visited. So AI is going to open up two frontiers. One is going to, like, those who have not gone through AI will lose out in productivity terms. But those who have gone through it and emerge and saying, oh, these are the things I ought to do if I were to survive in the AI age. You see, without it, you cannot compete with AI in the first place, doing the kind of productive work it can do. So your productivity will go down significantly, particularly those repetitive tasks, if you are not using it. But if you are only using it, your creativity will go down along with productivity. You will produce the same kind of term paper, the same kind of stuff, the same boring music, because it is moving towards convergence. So the most powerful algorithm is going to dominate other algorithms. And you will see that it is becoming more and more the same. Like modern times, people coming out, sheep coming out of the factory, and then people coming out of the factory. You can't distinguish one person from another. This is the flip side of AI. The other side of AI is to see, if I have taken over my cognitive, my brain is getting restructured. So what part of the brain I must now address for me to evolve and grow as a leader? This is a question you're asking. What must I do? And that which is risk-free too. A very important question. I don't want to get killed. I want to survive and then stay alive to do things. So what is AI doing? It is optimizing processes and it is speeding up productivity constantly by optimizing. So when you optimize a process in your company, suppose you can do it faster, better, at a lesser cost. The next question will be, so what are you doing with the advantage that you get out of optimization? So you are going to write a novel in 2 hours instead of, 2 years. Now, what are you going to do with the rest of the time? Now, if you write a novel using ChatGPT, you can write it in 2 hours, but your novel will look like somebody else's because this is the formula that it is recreating. But if you have to now reflect on what you've written in 2 hours, this is what we tell our students. You've done your term paper all right. You can use ChatGPT liberally. You produce term paper. And then you write there, this is produced by ChatGPT, QED. But after that, I have added 20% of my own reflection on this. So it is your reflection, that brain, that part of the brain that is able to reflect is going to be called into play. And what is that called? The ability to see your actions as a witness, as a dispassionate observer. I'm coming very close to what rishis would do anyway, right? But you have to come to that part of the brain which has not been cultivated because we have become very performative. Our productivity has gone up. And companies telling me, if you can do X, why don't you do 10X? Because the machine is able to produce 10X in a time that you could do only 1X, maybe 1000X in another 2-3 years. But the question is that there is a judgment that you have to apply here. Is it worth doing 1000X? I go to a 7-star hotel in Hyderabad. I was sharing this story in Calicut. People laughed, so I thought you'll laugh again. This is algorithm. So I get a free night stay in that hotel because the owners who I trained, they said it was an excellent program. So since you're flying out of Hyderabad anyway, stay in a hotel, the cost is on us. Okay, fine. I get down at the airport and somebody's holding a placard with the hotel name and presumably my name there. And I go with him. Somebody at the door at the hotel welcomes me by my name. I go into the room where I'm supposed to stay. The pillow is stitched with my name on it. The television set has my name. And I go to the restaurant and there's a cake with my name on top. And as I'm checking out the very next day, Somebody comes to me and says, Mr. Rao, it was great to have you with us. I said, I have been hearing Mr. Rao since the time I got in. I didn't want to say anything to see how far this one goes. Right? There is a difference between being approximately right and precisely wrong. You've been precisely wrong. So would you produce stuff that would have no relevance, no meaning, because you can produce it? Now that is a judgment, and judgment cannot be done by an algorithm. This judgment is what you have to retain for yourself. Judgment comes from a different plane. It doesn't come from intelligence. It comes from a very different reality. We call it consciousness. Right? Let's understand why a machine, an algorithm, cannot be conscious. It will not have an existential reality. It will have you see, there would be algorithms that will actually reproduce your entire body, your physical structure, as you are appearing now. Right? But it will not be able to reproduce the entirety of your existential reality. How does existential reality start? That I am alive, I exist. That the machine will not have. The machine will perform without even knowing that it is alive. It doesn't have to know it is alive. And therefore judgment comes into play. Why is judgment important? Because judgment then takes you to a point where you now have to see the proportion between productivity. Productivity that has got no value, or no, in the short term, you may gain a market share with productivity, but if you produce more of the same, your productivity will actually go against you. Therefore, you need a little bit of creativity, right? You need creativity. So you need to stop productivity. You need to know how to undo rather than do. So difficult to undo things, right? When you're habituated. You couldn't undo the okay, a simple thing. Right? You couldn't do the undo because you are used to, you're addicted to speed. Now, my spinach has to come within 10 minutes, or my pizza will have to be produced by Blink it in 10 minutes. If it is more than 10 minutes, there's an existential crisis. I call up people, I get upset. 15 minutes ho gaya, abhi tak spinach nahi aaya. No, both pizzas and perspective and prudence requires time. It cannot be produced in 10 minutes. Those professions which require the value of a long time investment will be your next frontier for growth. So please pay attention why education is going to be important, why music industry will be important, why caregivers will be important, because this cannot be replicated by ChatGPT. I give an example from Japan. I go to the best sushi restaurant in town, Sushi 10. I pick up the menu card and when I look at it, I'm about to get out because it's so expensive. But I have an India flag on my jacket, so I persist because it will be insult to my country if I go inside. They sit only 10 people. And anyway, I order a full meal and the meal comes on my table. The first thing I get in the 10-course meal is seaweeds, which I don't eat. Then I get octopus, which I can't eat. And then I get slowly stuff that I can eat. Out of the 10, maybe I enjoyed 6 of them. When the bill comes, it is 1/8 of the price of the actual menu. And I ask you this question, why is it so less? So I call the lady in charge of this. I said, ma'am, there's a calculation error here. You've charged me much less than what the menu says. He said, no, I was watching you eat and I billed you for what you enjoyed, not what you ordered. Which ChatGPT will give you this? So you can see this is a judgment. It involves consciousness. And that consciousness will have to be activated. It will not come to you naturally. So there will be education that will be raising consciousness, not just cash. So you have to now, if you're a leader of such an industry, short-term, long-term, medium-term, you have to see, how do I bring greater consciousness to my processes? How do I now nudge this person from the point of view of the fact that he is a person, he is a human being that I'm addressing. He is capable of creativity. Even the most idiotic person is capable of creativity. If you say he is a useless guy, no, he is useless, not that he is useless. He is useless in the domain where his creativity flourishes. You've misused him. In the industrial parlance, everybody is an employee, everybody gets the same salary, everybody has the same competence. That's the industrial age logic. It doesn't apply to AI age. Do you see what I'm saying? If you give him to do, see somebody who's learning data entry at your place and is unable to do data entry properly, but he can grow tomatoes in the garden. He has a green thumb. So if you allow him to grow tomatoes for 1/4 of the day, his data entry will get better because his learning curve will get better. Are you with me? So you have 5, 10 people, you have 1,000 people working for your company. Each of them are unique value propositions because each of them have consciousness. They have judgment. They know what to do when their children are sick. They know how to send them to school. And you're telling them you have to learn how to arrange furniture every day. You have to remind him, poor fellow is brought down, reduced to a performative mechanism. This is not going to work in the age that we are now confronting. So what we are saying is here, a machine is not going to ask this question, why? ChatGPT will ask question, what and how. You give me a formula, tell me how this will apply, and I'm going to deliver a result. But if you ask me, why am I doing this, why am I not doing that, I cannot answer that why. And you have to go back to novelists, people who create, real creativity. Your question came from creativity. Now, a novelist will tell you that when a king dies, and very soon the queen also dies, is only a narrative, it's not a novel. Just a narrative, you're reporting an event. Then you say the king dies and the queen has died out of grief, feeling sorry for the death of her spouse. Then it becomes a plot. No? There's a little twist, oh, this is out of grief, not out of old age. Then you say, okay, king died, and the queen died presumably out of grief, but they found 2 holes in her throat. Then you say, why 2 holes in the throat? Now the plot gets thicker. No, that why question is a human. So human beings have this enormous gift of imagining, asking why. This is an existential question. Now you see, more and more people will be freed up because their productive capacity will be enhanced by ChatGPT. Now they will see, no, I don't want to do more of that. I want to do something else. I'm bored and tired of doing the same thing over and over again. I'll do something else. What is the something else? This is a narrative becoming a unique individual story, a plot. And answer to the question, why am I doing what I am doing? This why question becomes the critical variance between algorithm and altruism. Altruism means, why am I doing this? You know, Arnav Goswami is interviewing some people who are protesting against cutting down of, the hills, Vidarbha. Cut down the hills and you dig the minerals out of it, India's GDP is going to grow by X percentage. But the algorithm will not tell you that how many people will be displaced, unhappy, as a result of that action. Because it hasn't built into the algorithm the whole aspect of what it means to be human. Because it is the tail of the dog. The silicon brain is the tail of the carbon brain. You cannot say that the tail is moving the dog. Not as yet. The day tail starts moving the dog, then you have to rethink your entire existence. But I'm not going there. So what we're saying is it possible that AI will have to produce those productive assets that you are going to judge whether they are going to be worth it or not. And it has also it has to combine its speed with wisdom. Wisdom will not come from AI. Without wisdom, that speed is going to kill you, literally kill you. You know, the beautiful story from Panchatantra, 4 friends are moving in a forest. One of them is an expert, he's a bone specialist. He sees some bones and he says, oh, these are the bones of a tiger. I can quickly put it together. He uses his skills, speeds up, and puts a structure of a tiger. It's a dead tiger, he's put it there in a structure. The second one says, I'm a dermatologist, I can do skin work, I can put the tiger's skin on top. It will look like a real tiger with all the stuffing. So he puts the tiger skin. The third one says, I can put blood and everything else in there. I can bring it to vital life. All the vital organs will start working. I have that skill. So he puts that skill in. The fourth one says, if the tiger now comes to life, it will kill all of us. So I should be the first one to, he's a fool. He doesn't ever go to school. So he starts climbing a tree. And as the tiger comes to life, the Panchatantra story ends. The tiger eats up all the 3, but the fourth one, who was foolish, apparently, survives. So he was not foolish. He had the consciousness of the whole picture. The others had lost it because they had become so specialized in their thinking, so oriented towards the performative aspect of leadership, that they forgot that there is an existential reality, and that reality is far bigger, far greater. Like the dog is far greater than the tail. Are you with me on this? This evening I'm not doing cock and bull story, right? And then the movement of the brain, the human brain that was regaling in the fact that it is doing something so quicker, cheaper, better, it will take a pause and say, okay, is it worth doing more of the same? Am I going to go and look at only at task-based identity of my worker? So he is a worker, he produces X number of things, so you are reducing the worker into a performative unit, which is a task-based, into a purpose-based unit. Purpose means, why am I doing this? Why can't I do it better? Why can't I do it differently? Why can't I do it in another place, not just here? So those creative impulses will come when you let up on this productivity machine, which is where the real challenge is going to be going forward. So if you're a leader, you are at that inflection point where a Jack Welch, if he was the leader of GE, he would have to come down 10 rungs and ask his data entry operator, you teach me data entry, I'll teach you leadership. Because there's a complementarity here. I have done something very good, and you are very good at something else, which I'm not good at, and I'm the CEO. Let's transfer our capabilities, but for that you need a connection, because this guy will be intimidated 10 years rungs down the line if you don't know how to talk to them. If you talk down to the person, so you have to learn how to connect with another human being at a deeper level, at the emotional level. This will be your USP. So leader will be the most agile learner in the whole thing, because he will model. He or she will model the learning. That is part of the organizational takeaway. So I'm going to stop for a while on this and see if you have questions. If you don't have questions, I'll show you some nice slides, and then we'll depart. So wherever I can take a few more questions from you, and then we'll see how things work. No, you'll be beautifully outclassed by your competitors if you're running a business. But survival is not a problem. See, survival, you've already crossed that threshold. Because survival is not a problem, because survival is not an issue, we have that time to think, rethink our lives. Otherwise, you will go on the same track and not assume that you had so many other things as a gift to give. People die in leadership roles not creating a succession. No, so narcissistic. They have generated so much value, they think they are the only ones who can do that. Everybody is a patient of cataract, they are the only visionaries. This comes from what you call an excess of productive instinct. In classical, the rishis would call it rajasic. So machine is rajasic or tamasic, but it is not swatik. Swatya is this illumination that you have, oh no, this is not helping my cause. Right? So will I be able to survive without, not in the business that you're in, if it is a competitive business, no, you cannot. If you're in competition, but if you step out of the competition and create something new, like there's a gold rush in California, everybody's going to get gold, and they're running young, old, everybody. The young man sitting on the side, on the fringes, and he's making shovels of iron. We will say, you should go and get some gold, everybody's running to get gold. Gold is found in California. He said, no, they will need these shovels, and I will sell those shovels at the price of gold. Right? So you see, wherever there is high performative system, like Bangalore, you'll have these meditation gurus coming up. Because they want to cash in on what is meaningless. So if you suffer from meaninglessness, imagine that you're becoming very productive, but life is becoming meaningless. Sorry? Where you don't?
No. Suppose he's selling shovels. So for him, he had a different thinking. So the same thing applies even now.
Yes, it applies. You see, the fundamentals haven't changed. What has happened is rushing to gold is becoming almost unconscious. This is an unconscious process. So what we are asking is bring back a little more consciousness. So you're going to search for gurus and babas who presumably will give you consciousness, but that's not where it comes from. It comes from right within you. And that you have a constitutional obligation to get there. You're a conscious being. And if you don't know how to get there, you have lost the way. That's your funeral, which means you have half lived a life. That's the whole point. And all I'm asking is that the CEOs who are now saying that even our jobs are at stake. Can you imagine Satya Nadella saying my job is at stake? Because I've invested my brain in only analysis. So I have to move towards empathy. What is he doing? His new range of products are based on his son's death. His son passed away. He suffered meaninglessness and he said, I became a Buddhist. Why did he become a Buddhist? Not religiously, but in orientation. And he said, I realize impermanence of life has taught me that empathy is very important.
Just one.
Does it answer your question? And so to bring back empathy, you need to go deeper into your, to your physical structure and biological structure. And say, where does empathy come from? Does it come from outwitting others from a competitive frame, or does it come from a different space altogether? Yes, sir.
In your view, what's the right metaphor to describe AI?
What is the right metaphor?
Yeah.
Bhasmasur. You heard of Bhasmasur? Yes. Okay, I'll tell you. This guy had the power of not dying at all. He is immortal. Bhasmasur. Except when he said his only way he will die is when he touches his head. Right? And so that's one time that he perished, he killed himself. So when you touch the source of what AI is doing, very interesting. When you look at what it is producing, what it is generating, you talk of generative AI. Have you asked this question, who generates? It is not the AI that is generating. It is I that is generating. I am is the generator. I am. My existence is the generator. That existential reality has created my brain, my body. AI is only an outsourcing of one part of my mental activity. And I have given it the power of a generator. So what I generate, only I can kill. I cannot kill. So I need judgment. I need to know that, okay, I'm going to stay off my smartphone religiously for 2 hours just to see how my normal brain functions without AI. Now today you have this, because the brain operates on the principle of the law of least resistance. So whatever resists me least, I'm going to follow that path. That's the nature of the brain. So if I don't know how to stop that path of least resistance, see, you start your exercises on January 1 with the assumption that 5 days a week I will go and do exercise. By January 30 it is 3 days. By February 15 it is 0.
Also, one question on.
No, this is an important question. Let me finish. Then I'll come to you. So why have you done it? Because the brain is now used to not exercising for, let's say, 30 years. And you are up against a neural performative system that is saying, don't exercise, don't exercise, don't exercise. And your wanting to exercise is colliding against the law of least resistance. It will not survive. So you have to harden your stand and say, okay, I have something called willpower. I have something called imagination. I have something called conscience. I have something called ethical orientation. All of these is not part of the AI function. You can say, have you seen empathy driven into AI? Or
Eventually it should. For example, I'm just openly thinking, I would say AI is an extension of us, or AI engine, generative AI, or whatever. If you say that that's algorithm, computer code, and machine, I would actually look at myself and see, what am I? I'm just water and carbon. I would consider probably AI as digital species, even though it doesn't have the biological nature to it, which you would normally attribute to a species. But if you really look at what it does today, is not just an algorithm, it's basically getting to the space of conscience. And even, for example, it has a memory as good as us. It can see like what we can see. You can communicate with it like it is. And it can be creative. It can create stories for your child at bedtime. You can do all of this. except that, we are still at a very, very elementary stage.
Okay, and I got your question. Before I go to you, let me answer. Like your girlfriend is AI, and people are saying that we enjoyed much more. Today's children in school will tell you, I enjoy talking to my AI model more than my parents because they don't know how to give me attention. But, please understand that but. So we are going to generate a whole generation of children who would mistake a mimicry of existential reality. This is not existential, and it is meaninglessness that we are talking about here. We are not talking about productivity issue here. We are saying that this experience almost looks like real. In fact, it is more real than real, but it is not real. So what does it leave me with? It leaves me with a constant sense of discontent. So I move to the next generation AI to have a better girlfriend. See, this is where the problem starts. So I am saying that this is not going to fulfill me because existentially it has no sense of, but I am attributing a sense of self to it and I'm collaborating with it. So when I objectify something and I become an object to myself, and that is where meaninglessness comes from. When I objectify myself to an extent when I cannot distinguish the real from the, and the same thing happened. When they started, creating those plastic girls and men, and this is exactly, it will, beyond a point, you will know that the fakery is not going to fulfill you. So when you see a fake flower, it looks real, but you go close, immediately you recoil from there. Because existentially, there is something in you that says this is not real. Somebody is wearing a wig, looks very nice, but the wig comes off, imagine what is you're aghast, right? And so this is the recoil that we experience.
So I have to move to another now within the same girlfriend nomenclature. Okay. Now the question is like this. I was listening to one of the persons, industry leaders who answering Kurian's question on can we live without AI. There's a guy who had implemented AI in his company and he told what he has benefited. Employ 8 people. Okay. Get 10 people work done through adoption of AI and pay 12 people salary. So, and he said, I have benefited immensely from that particular aspect because I'm not saying that nobody can live without AI, but definitely increases speed. Only question you told why they will not answer. So root cause analysis cannot be done by AI. Am I right? I mean, you told what and how.
Even that can be done by AI, but the fact is that it will not produce the root cause. If you can't divide something into cause and effect, you cannot have AI. It's the binary world that AI thrives on. You remove the binariness, AI will not be able to. So cause and effect have to be, so rishis observed nature and they said, look, wherever there is fire, there is smoke, there is fire. So fire is causing the smoke, so there is a cause-effect relationship. Their minds could detect it. And then they said some causes produce million effects. One seed produces a whole forest. So some causes produce multiple effects. And then they said, if you remove the root cause, there's nothing of the effect. So they said the ocean is the cause of the waves. If you remove the ocean, no waves will be there. Then they investigated further and they said, look, if I have to go deeper, then I realized that when I lose sight of the cause-effect relationship, the cause and effect has become one. And they had this magical experience. Whatever they thought happened. Gandhi expresses this in my autobiography, my experiments with truth. He says, when thoughts becomes things, almost like instantaneity, then he says we enter the domain of Ishvara. Ishvara means, Ish means ruler, Vara means nature. The one who rules nature, in him or her, cause and effect has become one. You can't distinguish one from the other. AI will not be able to cross that frontier for the simple reason, despite what people are saying. The latest scientific evidence that we have is that consciousness does not arise out of the physical structure. It enters the physical structure when the physical structure has become highly coherent. And they're calling it integrating information technology, IIT. If you read that deeper, you will realize when you integrate a system to such a way, you can't figure out where it begins and where it ends. That is the point when consciousness enters the system, which simply means consciousness is a grace, a gift comes to you when you are ready for it. So if you have not integrated your system, consciousness will not, even if AI were to mimic consciousness, it will not be a property of the, so it cannot be, let's say, it cannot be made in a laboratory. You cannot put this in a game, you cannot just put two pieces together and create consciousness. It will not happen. It is what comes to you when your system is so highly integrated. It's, there's this whole movement in California, one movement of oneness, what do you call, what is it called, solidarity? What is it? Singularity. So look at, that's exactly what they're talking about. When there is singularity in something, then consciousness will hit you. So you have to evolve, that object has to evolve to a certain level. And so when the rishis were saying just that, when you got united with Ishvara, your every action is now towards the existential, then you will become existential. And we have enough evidence from our whole pantheon of sages and saints that they have achieved that kind of. But we are not going there. Our job is very limited to understanding how this is going to apply to my business, right? That's why you come here. How it's going to apply to your business? It will apply wherever there is cause-effect relationship, number one. It will apply whenever somebody is outproducing you in a particular competitive space. So you have to use, so HDFC's top man was saying that I have to use the latest generation of AI to figure out how another AI is stealing my real data. So to remain competitive, I have to invest in this technology. Otherwise, I will be completely outclassed. So to that extent, you have to be very aware of what's happening. You have to go through the technology to be able to understand what it can do, what it cannot do in the long run. And that is the judgment that you have to deliver. The AI will not deliver it for you. At what point do you call it off? What point do you shift to a different kind of technology? That's the judgment. That's the call that will come from you, from your existential reality, right? Because that stuff you call AI is incapable, as of now, as far as we know, becoming an Ishvara. It is incapable. It doesn't have that existential. One day, if it has it, then well, this session will not be required at all. You will get to see it at the click of a button. But as far as we know, you can infer, this is what's going to happen. Is that all? You must be hungry, and you have to go back. So what I'll do is, can you see if you can play that thing called silence? Hello, sir. He is interested in AI, not in my. Yeah, sir. Was your silence your sound? Can you play that? Yeah, very nice.
Debashis had a quick question here.
Okay. Yes.
What are the conversations you are having with your students in college? How are you preparing them for, the next phase?
You see, we have an AI policy. We have set up a team to say what would be our AI policy. And we said this policy will not have a 5-year, 3-year, 2-year, even 1 month horizon. The policy will be very simple. You say, what do you know about AI as of now? Because we know differently about AI today. The knowledge itself is so differentiated that you can't have a policy, because policy will be required when we are on the same uniform page, right? But I pay only $20 to get the next generation of ChatGPT. With $20, I can climb 100 years ahead of others who do not have that ChatGPT. If the rate of growth is so, you can't have a policy. So we said, what would be the policy? Not to have a policy, number one. You have to be open. Look at what has happened to strategy. I was with the ONGC top team, leadership team, and there was a consultant like you are, and he was saying nobody in ONGC is interested anymore in strategy statements. They want us to hold hands and give us the profit, only then they will pay us. Which means that the difference between action and knowledge is narrowing to a point where you cannot say that I have plans for action tomorrow, like Donald Trump. What strategy does he have today? He's strategizing after it's like a reaction to what is happening. So the point is that his action is changing so quickly that the knowledge of it, by the time you have knowledge of action, the action has gone to another realm altogether. So in the speed, the gap between knowledge and action fuses, you have to become existential like a seed. In a seed, the knowledge of the tree and the action that makes a tree out of the seed is fused together, which means you become conscious integration of knowledge and action. This is called integrative. This is called integration. So when you have all parts of your body, everything that you have existential reality, they come together as one unit, you become divine, in a bovine world. So that's the whole point. And so is that going to be, Rajesh, is that going to be impossible for us to achieve? But this is the call. The call is that you have to evolve. This thing is about evolution of the human brain. And you have to a point where you're going to use the brain very differently. In our education system, this is the whole thing. How much can I give content? I am saying 20% reduction of content. For God's sake, students are not interested in content. They'll get better content. Give them reflection time. Take content and say, what does it mean to you in your reality, right? This is very important. I am teaching just in time, but I am never on time in class. There is a mismatch between content and context. They will not pick up anything. But if I model content, if I give them content based on my... So that's why teachers used to say that you have to live that teaching that you are going to impart. You don't teach through words, you teach through your existence. And so that is going to be the role of the leader going forward. When you enter a room, people will say, oh, here is a leader. You could carry your mahol with you, and that mahol is not in the body, not in the mind, but in the existential thing which you are part of. Now you become Ishwara of sorts. You become a miniature God. When you enter, you transform things just by your presence. So optimization will be replaced by presence. Algorithms will be replaced by altruism. Measures will be replaced by meaning. And now how you're going to do that is your business. I'm not there because I don't know how to do it. You may know how to do it in your industry. So let's, no more outstanding questions, right? Thank you. Okay, so let me end with this, which I always do, because this is what is the language of existence? Have you ever thought of that? No. For instance, a lot of people ask, what is your mother tongue? Malayalam. What is your mother tongue? Bengali. Mother tongue? Marathi. I said, no. If I pinch you, and can you go to that silence thing? The last, just the silence. No. Yeah, just hold on. Just hold on. And so I said, okay, if I pinch you, you will say ouch or ooh. Is that in Malayalam or Bengali? Does it have a language? No, it is pure sound coming out of the existence of silence. So pure sound is the purest form. This is your mother tongue. Your mother tongue is silence. That language was taught to your brain, and you started speaking in Marathi. Your brain was predisposed to Marathi because of genetic kind of thing. So you learned Marathi faster than other languages, and you thought that was your mother tongue. But your original language is silence. What is silence? It is a language of existence. You are existential. Every part of existence is talking to each other. Planets are moving in their orbits. Everything is talking existentially. It is in the language of silence. There is no verbalization. So silence is not absence of speech. It is the presence of non-verbal intelligence. That non-verbal intelligence translates as presence. Now, when you are in the presence of somebody, automatically there's a shift, transformative action. You are just present. So non-verbal intelligence is equal to silence. And what is silence equal to? It is equal to that which artificial intelligence has not been able to touch, because it cannot be broken down into cause and effect. Can you see Chinese silence versus American silence? You cannot, because it comes from and the sounds that come out of the silence have the power. That's why you have those mantras, the Rishi said, these are all sounds, primal sounds. And the sounds have the power to move people in ways that you could not. So I went to Ustad Ramzad Ali Khan with my book of poems, and I said, sir, can you render this into music? He said, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm a classical musician. I said, sir, would you then allow me to go back disappointed? He said, no, I'm going to sing for you since you've come all the way. So he went to his basement in the near Siriford Auditorium. He has a house. So he sang, and he sings so well. I said, sir, I've never heard you sing in public. He said, no, my guru said you can choose the path of voice or the path of sound. With voice you can cheat a lot of people, with sound you cannot cheat people. So I chose sound over voice, and here I am. And so eventually Pandit Vishwamohan Bhatt put this to music. The idea is not to tell you about the music. The idea is to tell you that when sound meets your voice, when the sound, so you say to somebody, what this person is saying sounds true. What does that mean? Which means there's a coherence between your existence and your word. Where AI is now supporting MI. Who am I is supporting AI. That's when AI becomes productive, it becomes critical, and it becomes appropriate. This is technology. Today, can you say, can I live without AI? It's like saying, can I live without my pen, my washing machine, my refrigerator? We will evolve, we will grow out of these. I have not danced around the refrigerator as a novel trick. I will get used to it. We'll get used to it too. But the equation between who am I and what AI is will remain, because there is this relationship between sound and silence, between reality and its expression. AI is only an expression of reality. It is not reality. A part of the brain, small part of the cognitive structure broken down, and 100 people in Silicon Valley are doing the codes for you. Anything this is existentially threatening me? No. I mean, don't go that far. It's not that alarming yet. But it is also not something you can take lightly, because this is going to affect your productive processes. So let's end with silence. I don't want to go any further. I'm just going to look at there are lots to be said here, but you have to come to Calicut to be able to understand this. With muted sorrow in her eyes said, tell us about silence. Ananda, this is the character who's talking, answering the question. Ananda waited for the murmur of the eucalyptus leaves to whisper its last secrets through the hills. He seemed absorbed in a wordless conversation with himself. This is your physical self, mental self talking to your existential self. This conversation goes on when you go to sleep at night. Constantly it goes on, but you're not aware. So, this is exactly called Sushupti in Sanskrit. Deep sleep is when you stop the conventional conversation with yourself. Obama forgets he's Obama, you forget you are you. And you get rejuvenated because you are drawing your sustenance from a non-verbal world. Deep sleep is when you get rejuvenated. You see, what is sleep? Sleep is there is no data about who you are. You are still, your entire organism working, but you do not know who you are. You've forgotten. Your identity is merged with the identity of existence. That's deep sleep. So what happens in deep sleep? You enter the womb of silence, and this is what it looks like. Silence is the womb of all that is spoken and heard. Silence is the flow of the river of intelligence. Like river banks, words are mere interruptions of this flow. Silence is the unspoken truth of the universe. Words are at best masks that embellish the face of truth with their many devices, AI being one of them. Right? The forlorn lover sitting on the edge of the river pines for a lost love in dumb despair. Only numbing silence. Only numbing silence. Only unalgorithmic but altruistic silence. Only numbing silence. What does it do? Only numbing silence? Connects heart with heart. What is the heart? It is the center of consciousness. It is not a biological heart. It takes you the heart of reality. This is what heart is. When you say learn by heart, that's what you mean. You learn from the center of your existential reality. That is the heart. In silence, what happens in silence? In silence, words return to their essence, just as noisy rivers merge with the ocean. Through words, one becomes many. In silence, many return to the one. What is that one? That undifferentiated Ishwar, without cause and effect. In silence, creation happens. Answer to your question about creativity. In silence, creation happens. The master in us has created a house called the universe. Through words, we knock at the door of this house. In silence, the chest of treasure is flung open. Speak, but do not stand in the way of the music of silence. You can speak, but don't stand in the way of the music of silence. Your words are useless without the music. The original voice of life is silence. All other noises of the world. All other noises of the world. All other noises of the world. The other noise, not existed. All other noises of the world are mere echoes. They are just echoes. AI is an echo of natural intelligence. It's merely an echo. You get seduced by the echo. It almost looks like real, but it doesn't have existential reality. It is only a rebouncing reaction If you control the reactions will help you. You will move into action. So, here lies the secret. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. We have taken a little longer than we thought we should, but nevertheless, thank you.
To say, I think we're all a little lost in some sort of a trance, absolute bliss. We expected the topic of leadership, AI, but he's taken us far and beyond all of that, from technology to leadership to spirituality to sound, voice, music, melody, whatnot. It's been a wonderful, wonderful exposition, and thank you so much once again, Dr. Chatterjee, for being here and for this. Just as you were about to close, I looked at my watch, and to think that 70 minutes just, you with a very calming effect, I think you just brought all of us to a state of absolute bliss. Thank you so much. On behalf of all of us, may I request Sushant, please kindly come forward to present a token of our love and now may I request our friends from Kozhikode, the organizing team behind the CITI 2.0 initiative, KTX, Ajay, Kamath and the team, can you kindly come forward and give us a brief introduction about the event?
After Professor's session, for me, usually attending his session, 70 minutes is for another month, thinking about what he said, the different dimensions, different meanings. It's always a great experience, not just 70 minutes for me, his session. So I don't mind traveling miles to hear whatever he said, because it remains for months together. So thank you, Professor, being here and being part of this pre-KTX event today and talking to all these distinguished guests over here. Thank you all very much for this. Thank you, Vivek and KTX Global and all the dignitaries for with us today. And we are really happy and proud that KTX Kerala is an industry partner for KTX Global, which is going to happen on 28th, 29th, and 30th of May. I invite you all to come to Calicut, the city of truth, the city of literature, and the city of good food, and so also a city of growing IT, innovation, and startup ecosystem. The history is changing. So I would like to mention to you a few words about what is CITI, what is CITI 2.0, what we are trying to do with this. Actually, there was a CITI 1, which was an informal organization, which happened long back, that is Calicut IT initiative, where so many people joined together. IEM was part of it, Calicut management was part of it. It was driven by Malabar Chamber of Commerce. They all worked together to see whether some cyber park can come to Calicut. It happened in long back, and there are 2 cyber parks. Now all cyber parks are full, and post last 2024 event, lots of development have happened in Calicut. 35 lakh square feet, 5 towers are going to come up in both the towers. It's not just the infrastructure we are trying to do, how we are working on how to make Calicut a place, livable city. It's not that people come there, go, but they should leave that in that city. So we are working together for that. So how this CITI 2.0 came into existence? We were discussing with Professor, our guide. We were discussing with Balgopal Chandrasekhar. We were discussing with Dr. Sajeev Gopinath. When Tier 2 cities are developing in all parts of the country, when we Calicut is a Tier 2 city, has all the potential, why not we all join together to do something for the city? How to make this aspirational hub for technology and innovation. So that was the thought process on which we worked. So it became a registered society under the initiative of Malabar Chamber of Commerce, Indian Institute of Management, NIT Calicut, Calicut Management Association, Government Cyber Park, UL Cyber Park, CAFIT, an organization of IT professionals of Calicut, Kerala government's KSITL, where Santosh Babu is MD now, and CREDAI, we all joined together. We signed and made a document which is a registered society, and we plan to take this forward. That's how the city 2.0, a story of tier 2 city that has never happened, such a combination, such a coming together of professional bodies, industrial organizations, trade organizations, education institutions coming together to work together for a city. So this is a unique tier 2 story. So that's basically what City 2.0 is. So we had an event in 2024, Calicut, known for its literature, music, art, culture. We thought of why don't we conduct a event here, technology event here. So the thought process developed, lots of inputs were received. We thought we'll make it a Kerala event. It's not a tier 2 city, Calicut, it should be a Kerala event that's happening in Calicut this time. So we made an attempt. We were not sure whether it is going to happen. But what happened is a history. It's totally different. It was a totally different story. What happened? If you can see, we can give you the reports of Calicut and those speakers who came over there. It was an amazing experience, which gave us the confidence that we can do something for this country, this state, for this tier 2 city. Lots of business developments happened, lots of connects happened, lots of speakers came. They saw the city, they saw the investors, many investors came. They saw the entrepreneurs there. They saw the startups there. We were able to showcase many things. So that was a great event. Now, KTX 2025, Kerala Technology Expo 2026, which is going to happen now, we thought it's not going to be an IT event. It should be a convergence of technology and industry. This is where should we focus. And Kerala being as such a totally tier 2 city, this should bring the story. We should all develop together. We need the support. We are all now connected very closely. Infrastructure is with us. Technology is with us. Vibrant youngsters are there. Education institutions are over there. Why not we do that? So that's what we are here. So we have with us all our team, Mr. Rifat, who is the General Secretary of CITI, Parvesh Akhtar, he is the Vice Chairman of CITI, Nitin Kamath, the President of Malabar Chamber of Commerce, and we have Mr. Jyoti Satyanath, ex-IBM MD, and he is part of the curating team. We have curating team, Thomas and Saina sitting over there. Will you please stand up? They are also part of this. And we are trying to make up something. We are trying to do something. So we all want you to come to Calicut, experience it. Let us all build this Kerala. We want you to be participants for the event there. Showcase your product. Guide our people, startups. Guide our entrepreneurs. Showcase your capabilities. Let them learn from you all the experience that you have. So we invite you to be there, our speakers, panelists, to be there as our delegates. And this is an invitation to all of you. We'll be reaching to all of you there. Thank you very much. We have Mr. Jyoti who will be presenting you a brief about, I'm not taking much time, about what is KTX 2026, what we are trying to do, and what we have there to offer for all of you. Thank you very much.
From what Ajay has said, we want to make KTX as a Kerala event happening in Calicut. In fact, as you said, the first version was 2.0, City 2.1, City 1, which happened about 15 years back. In fact, Vikramathy sir was also there in Calicut for one of the program which we kicked off. At that time, we were trying to get all the corporates from around the country just to bring them to Calicut, just to expose our talent pool. In fact, we had a function where we had about 500 students participating with the interactive session with all the corporate heads, including, Vikramathy sir, I still remember. That was the effort which was put in. in 2013 when we are trying to attract companies to come to Calicut, and the question was there's not much infrastructure available there in Calicut. And then the pitch started with listening with the government to set up the IT park, and luckily we got 2 IT parks, one government IT park and the UL IT park, and now the infrastructure was set, and then it took some time, and now we realize that we need to get to the next level. That's why we moved into CITI 2.0, where we thought of promoting technology, not just IT technology. And this is what we need for Kerala. If you want to grow, we all know that major industry is not possible, and the only possibility is look at the knowledge industry, knowledge sector, which is going to thrive and create the economic boom for the state, the entire state. And now with the better connectivity, Kerala is becoming just one big center, and if you really pitch it well, we can be the next big thing for knowledge economy. This is the effort we are putting in, and we want all your support to in any which way. We want you there, present, maybe taking the stalls and be present there. You all should come there as delegates. You can support us through sponsorship, whatever way you can, just to make sure that our dream of making Calicut an aspiration city and then influencing the growth of Kerala together for technology happens. Thank you.
My name is Jyoti. I am the co-founder of a company called Scalablers. We work on what we call career gaps for youth, and our focus is youth. And it is one of the reason we are into this is because we know that without corporates, money don't come, and without money, youths cannot be pushed. So we are into it to get corporates in and the interaction going. A small story, right there is Thomas, who is part of Cyber Media, one of the largest publications for long in the IT business. There used to be an event in Delhi in the 90s, Comdex. I used to work for Wipro those days. I worked for 2 companies, Wipro and IBM. And we used to spend 1 month preparing to be in Comdex to showcase our products, the Wipro PCs those days. Every IT company would come to Delhi, and it used to be a festival. It was one event that everybody waited for. Our dream for KTX, after a wonderful first event that the CITI team put together, and we reviewed it, for the time they spent putting that together and the kind of interest that was shown, it was a massively successful event. Our second edition and our dream is this. Our dream is a signature event for Kerala to showcase its industry in the technology world. So I'm going to sort of put this a little differently. We are not asking for your support. We are asking you to be in the front and make this your event for Kerala, for the world to see, and for interchange of value on both sides. I'm quickly going to take you through the presentation. Okay. This is what we're trying to do. We are trying to make tier 2, which is what we all call ourselves, when you look at Kerala, which is a tier 2 city. I can give you a bare truth. I ran the IBM business in India. I used to run the mid-market business for Asia Pacific. I opened my office in Kochi twice in 15 years. I shut it down myself. The truth outside is that there is no business. But the truth when people come here, and that is given by the fact that IBM here, I tried putting 1,000 people into Cochin based on a request I got. I did not succeed. I think 3 years back, IBM came in with over 1,000 people. It has grown to 3,000 people. The truth is, unless you taste Kerala, people do not understand the value that brings. And believe me, Kerala is not the cheapest destination for any IT company in this country. People will come here because of value it offers. And that is what we want to exhibit through KTX. Right? And what we're trying to do, we know about tier 2 cities, the kind of opportunities that is coming. It's a great time because apart from Canada, apart from US, and I think all of you, most of you are entrepreneurs in the IT business also, you will know that Europe is opening up, Australia is opening up, and a whole lot of GCCs are expected to come into India in the next 1 or 2 years. And no better place like Kerala, given the fact that the talent pool is available here. Right? Why Kerala? In all metrics, Kerala provides the right mix for any company outside the country to come over. It's just that people don't know. People know Kerala is a great tourism spot, but not as a great place to do business. You have to exhibit it. And KTX is going to be the platform that we want to build to exhibit that. And that's the reason I said, I don't want to support, I want you to be leading it. We are just going to help you put it together. Right? That's the task that we're doing, but it has to be led by entrepreneurs in Kerala because it is a much wider spot that we want to take. Present Kerala to the world the right way. Why Calicut? It's very romantic about Calicut. Every time I write in LinkedIn, every time the KTX ad comes out and I write about Calicut, Calicut gives me so many things to talk about. Amazing food, amazing beaches, covered by mountains on one side, beach on the other side, covered by 2 airports. I mean, no other place. It's a great place to start something. Will we be there all the time? We don't know. It all depends the way we're going to take it. But Kerala is not seen as one city, right? We see Kerala as one city, not Calicut as a city, right? So it can be a beautiful place. Kerala can be San Francisco across. We don't have to think about anything else. It's an amazing place. No other place got IIM and IIT and Ayurvedic medicines and allopathic medicines all existing together. Amazing place to start this whole initiative for ourselves. What are we expecting? About 8,000 delegates. We're expecting about registered delegates about 3,500, global people to be about 500 plus, 100,000 youth to be part of our entire journey. This can easily double. We believe that we are sort of, and I'll give you some numbers for you. The signature event in Karnataka is BTS. BTS does a business of about 25 crores. The first edition that we had did a business of about 3.5 crores, right? We have a huge space to grow. I'm not looking at the numbers per se from a revenue perspective and the kind of business that happens there. More importantly, of the scope that is available for us to grow this whole thing and make it a signature event for Kerala. Sorry. Yeah. One thing that we really want to do is we want to focus on industry rather than technology. One change, Professor, I think while you were talking, what was going on in my mind was technology is going to more and more get concentrated on what industries want to do rather than AI itself. More and more the creativity that industries are going to show will define what AI is going to do, right? To that extent, everything that we talk has to be through the eyes of the industry. I was talking to a gentleman in Dubai who makes these vein finders, right? They have a small factory here in Kochi, and he wants to come over and demonstrate the vein finder to the world, right? So there are so many industries today that we want to, and we have picked up 6. By the way, it's not of anything. We just brainstormed and said these are the 6 that we will showcase this time, and maybe as we move into the next few editions, we could pick up another industry, right? But all stories will be told through the industry. Technology is just an enabler. Yeah, and this is what we're looking for. Obviously, like I told you, we need a support. There are many ways you can participate. You could be a delegate, you could be an exhibitor, you could be a sponsor. More importantly, your presence is important. More importantly, your discussions about Kerala with your colleagues, with your partners across the world is important. Invite them into Kerala, invite them into Calicut. This is happening on 28th, 29th, and 30th of May. We got 1 month. We got the election results coming on 4th, which means we have 22 days to make this happen. As much as the physical preparation is done, we have done everything. Now what we need is participation. We need Kerala to be showcased. We need the signature event to be born. I leave it to your goodness to make it happen. And we are all there for you to reach out. Our team is also reach out. But I leave this responsibility of making this success to TIE and its members here in Kochi today. Thank you.
I want to add this edition of KTX 2026 will be held jointly with the support of Government of Kerala IT Department, Kerala Startup Mission, KDISC, and KSITIL. So it will be a collaboration of this. Major industry partners like Thai Kerala and GTEC are forming part of it. There will be a specific focus on startups also. There will be startup events, startup sessions. We are already finalized the names and confirmed some great speakers and investors from that segment also. So lots of things are happening. See you all in Calicut. Thank you very much.
Kerala has become, thanks to Vande Bharat and hopefully the road connectivity, we are one large city. So let's all work together to showcase our state. We come to the end of the session. May I invite Jacob, a quick formal concluding remarks, and we'll move on to dinner.
What I took away from that evening was, normally when we have a long session, we see restlessness in a room. And I still don't see restlessness in this room. And it's always nice in a Thai meeting when we see the whole family around, right, with spouses, whoever can come. So, I was last week in Switzerland and I was attending a program on leadership. And I had written a few key words down that time. It was consciousness, judgment, altruism, existence, meaning, presence, and silence. And I just pulled out, so after I was going through the session, I pulled out my phone and said, I've written something very similar. And it was the exact same words that I had written down. There's not one word more and not one word less.
Don't go to Switzerland, come to Kochi.
And it was a program, nothing to do with AI. It was a completely different program on leadership and things like that. And today we came for an AI session on leadership. We assumed it's going to be technical. We assumed a lot of things. And I think what this program has taken us back to the roots. And I think this is what sometimes we are trying to find. It was always there, and we've lost it somewhere in this journey of ours. And right now we are trying to get this journey back to where this all was. And Professor, you've said that so well in that, how do you find meaning in this existence, right? And thank you so much, Professor Chatterjee, for taking this time out and giving us this lovely, non-technical segue into AI and where it's going. I'm sure it's going to help us all moving forward. To KTX, thank you so much for organizing this. We're proud to be associated with you in the organization of KTX Global CITI 2.0. Looking forward to the collaborations and wishing you the very best. To all of you gathered here, I don't have to thank you. We are all members here. But thank you for taking time out and looking forward to a great evening. And thank you for the rest of the Secretariat team also. Thank you so much.